Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kane. This is the second part of the economics module of the definitive Stellaris tutorial. In the last module, we covered things like surveying alien worlds, how to recognize and plan your districts for your planetary infrastructure, how to identify POPs, what they produce and what they need, and even how social structures such as living standards can define their upkeep and the impact that has on happiness, and therefore the impact that has on stability. As you can see here, 58%, and that's because we've got +5% approval rating. We get an extra 3 points. So 58% there. Fantastic. Because 3 plus 8. No, 3 plus 5, silly boy, is 58. Hooray. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to... I'm basically going to be doing stuff. I'm gonna, but for the most part, we're gonna run the game. Well, from what you see, it will be fast forwarded until we get to some key points that we'll cover. So the first thing we can see here is that we've got 725 minerals. That's a lot, and we have a builder ship. Now we can go to any system that we have fully surveyed. And you'll see that its name is in white text if we fully surveyed it, as opposed to Guitarra or Rigault, which are in shaded text, that dark ochre grey. And we are going to build a starbase. What does this do? Well, after we've built the starbase, it will be similar but not identical to the starbase that is over the star in Makar, the Velveteer's home star system, because this is actually a star base. We are going to build an outpost. And what does that cost? Costs 75 influence points and 100 alloys. We're making alloys through facilities on Mok itself, staffed by our specialists, and they are known as metallurgists. Well, the job itself. What's the influence for? Why influence? That is because you need to convince your people that it is the right thing to do to claim this system at this right time. And so we are going to build it. And then we're going to unpause the game.
Anomaly found.
Ooh, pause. Right. Anomalies, we talked a little bit about those in the last module, but look at that, that is almost a year. So it's up to you. So we can zoom to it, let's see what's going on. It's this asteroid, there's something in it. It's been partially hollowed out and carved with exquisite precision. There is something familiar about the lines and curves etched into the rock. It's always your decision, but there is this button. If surveying the system is a priority, leave it for now. I'm curious, so I'm going to research it. And then he'll finish doing all of this. He's going to do that, he's going to research that anomaly, then he's going to survey the rest of Rigault and the surrounding systems. Let's unpause, maximum speed, because we need to track this guy. There he goes. Oops. You see, this is a neutral system. Neutral system.
Star system charted.
Oh, that's good news. The Guitarra system's been fully surveyed. So you can see all those little bots. Building. Ooh, gateways! Gateways, we'll talk about that later. In another module, but gateways, that's a good sign. Building. A sign of velveteer power. Right, here we are. Okay, let's pause the game. What can we do now? What? Whoa! The Great Velveteer Commonwealth now owns 2 star systems. That's what the outpost does. When the outpost has been built, you can dismantle it. If you want to, that will mean that the system will revert back to neutral. Or you can upgrade it to make it more like the station over the homeworld, which is a star base. And in it you can put modules like shipyards, they build your ships, and a trade hub, which covers trade. We're going to cover that in an entirely separate module that wasn't in the original curriculum. But, you know, that's the kind of game that this is, really. You find out more that you need to teach as you go on. We still haven't covered traditions yet. So, what can we do now? So there's 5 energy, 3 minerals, and 1 alloys. 1 alloy. Or one megaton of alloys. So it still is alloys. 1 megaton of alloys on trading 1. How are they spread out? So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4. So that's 4 mining stations. We have more than 400 minerals. Do it. And then it will go and do that. We can see the Katara system is now also fully surveyed. It's not got much resources in it, just that 3 there from the star itself. But look at that. It's Mock again. Also something about Panzer Corps. Great. So you can see, we can have a look at the planetary features now. What's it got? Generator districts. So let's have a look. 2 of those. So that's 2. 5. Geothermal vents, ore-rich caverns, mining districts. So not going to be a mining world, but bountiful plains, fertile lands, and Dro discovered. Dro is used for psionics. We'll get into that when we look about Ascension perks in a later module. So, there is also an archaeological dig here. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So, let's unpause the game. Remember that asteroid? With the familiar lines? Well, most of the asteroid has been laser chiseled with great precision into the likeness of a small velveteer temple, or large shrine. A shrine to the Untold, the great destroyer deity of old Velveteeran faiths. The temple has been tumbling through the quiet of space for far longer than we have been capable of spaceflight, which is disturbing at best, terrifying at worst. Naturally, Science Officer Reveal Uvi Ravad urges us to search for more stellar objects that match the characteristics of this space temple, and has uploaded a list of likely candidates in nearby systems to the situation log. Now, this is an event chain. So, there will always be 2 options in the first significant anomaly. So, we can have that. Perhaps would be best if we did not. Let sleeping gods lie. That just ends it. You know, it's essentially going, I ain't got time for that! Or begins the strides to the old gods event chain. And you know, I'm going to be doing
Situation
this.
log updated.
Now, situation log, F2, means we've got 3 that our scientist has identified. We can track them all on the map if we like. They're all already on our routes, so we can stop tracking them, and we can see what's going on there. In the meantime, okay, alright, he's just finished the anomaly. That was the anomaly that he was working on.
System charted.
Let's come. Ooh, an arid world! So, remember, when this is programmed into the game, we said
complete.
Guaranteed habitable worlds. 2, there's 1. 1 in Katara.
Found.
Yes, research. 1 in Katara and
Star
1 in
system
Jaboom.
charted.
Obviously, we don't specify where they are, but Habitable worlds. This is another event chain. Everyone will get it unless you are a an empire that just wants to eat everything, because then you don't really care. You can just say, "Nah, I can't be bothered," or you can do that.
Situation log updated.
You don't have to do it now. You can do it whenever.
Construction complete.
So we've now got a second construction ship. So we are going to go and build a starbase there. We're going to go and build a starbase there, because we have enough influence and we have enough alloys. That was from the anomaly that I just sort of clicked over a moment ago. Here's a screenshot of what it said. And of course, you're going to get a reading. The VCV Fingav Adfin crew has succeeded in isolating a signal embedded within the unusual pattern of interference in the Tissonia system. The signal is a song. A complex sonification of an advanced mathematical equation, to be precise. And one that Science Officer Navbad Uviliv cannot seem to get out of the head. Who or what may have composed this song remains unknown, though its complexity infers an incredible level of technological sophistication regarding subspace harmonics. The signal's geodesics suggests a point of origin from outside of our galaxy. Great story, very curious. We get some free science. Hooray! Alright, let's get back to speeding up. We've detected some primitives! Fantastic. This hardly ever happens in my games. So we've got a primitive civilization here. So early industrial age. The picture doesn't really represent that. Electricity and internal combustion engines gradually coming into world civilization. So if this was Earth, they'd be in 1920 ish. So that's really good. We can have a regional capital, it's a primitive power plant. Yeah. Excellent. Urban dwellings, blah, 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 blah. And now we can decide what we would like to do with them. Okay, right. What have we got now? Pause. We have... I'm just going to build a mining station around there. We now have 2 additional worlds within our borders. An arid world, and another arid world. And also another Arctic world. But we can't live on Arctic worlds because we'll take an 80% penalty to happiness, because it's habitable, but we hate it. It'd be like someone who's used to living on the equator moving to the North Pole forever. So, let's just do that. Also, we've got our sectors map on. We don't really need that because we've only got one sector. What's a sector? We'll talk about that later on in the guide. So, what do we need to think about when choosing to colonize another star system, choosing to colonize another planet? What's next to that 80%? It's a number, 14. In this one, it's 15. What does that mean? That means it is the maximum amount of districts that you can build on that planet. So you can either have, as we talked about in the first part of this module, we can build a maximum of 15 city districts, or we can build the maximum amount of other districts that we can according to the planetary features, and then just build the rest of the city districts. And this is all, of course, after you've unblocked all of these blockers. So you can see what it's going to actually release. But we're going over stuff we've already gone over. So what do we need to consider? If we need minerals, maybe not. We can go into the expansion planner and we can see the 2 planets side by side. So Katara 3, we could see that's not got a lot of minerals at all. It does have a lot of potential for energy and food. And the moon around Jugum 3 has a lot of energy, not so much food, but a lot of minerals. So what's our priority? We've got 29 minerals coming in from Mok itself, as well as these mining stations we've put in around the stars that we've expanded our borders into. And we can also look at the food output. So our population is growing. So that means that eventually we're not going to be growing enough food. So we need to plan ahead for that. Let's have a look. We've got some modifiers here around the arid world here that we would be using as a mining and energy source in the early game. We've got here a natural beauty, happiness +5, immigration pull +25. So it's going to be easier for us to actually get this world populated if there's any unemployment on Mok, which there is. We can see that there by the little red briefcase icon. So actually, you know, normally I would go for this because we're going to need the food, but for that bonus we're going to go for Jugum 3A. And you might think that is a wrong decision. That's totally fine. Let me know in the comments. So how do we colonize? We can either build a colony ship from a shipyard, and a shipyard is any starbase that you've upgraded from beyond the basic outpost. What's a basic outpost? It's the thing above the star that basically broadcasts a radio signal saying, this is Velveteer territory, stay away, to anyone else. We haven't met anyone else at the moment. You can go to a shipyard, build a ship, and build a colony ship. It requires these things: 200 food, 200 alloys, and 200 toasters and smartphones and things like that. Consumer goods. We have stockpiles that can cover the cost of the ship, so we could build one. Or we could do it a smarter way. So Jugum 3A. We're just going to click colonize. And then it will give you a list of species. We only have one species, obviously, the Velveteers. They like arid worlds, so 80% habitability. We're going to click. It's going to be called Jugum Prime. We're going to click OK. And then what's happening at Makar Station? It's building a colony ship automatically. As soon as the colony ship is finished, in just under a year, it's then going to automatically go to Jugum 3A, land, and colonize. We'll be back when that's happened. Okay. The VZV Fingav ad Fin has recovered an elongated metal box from the surface of Muskal Var. Clusters of small perforations on 5 sides lead Science Officer Navbard Uvialive to believe it is not a container, but some sort of aerosol dispersal device. Initial tests seem to confirm their suspicions, as trace aromatics still emanate from the object. A special project has been issued to confirm whether this might be an information-carrying device, constructed by some alien race, communicating primarily through the secretion and reception of atmosphere-borne chemical compounds. Smells. And of course, this is malodorous. We've got another special project.
Situation log updated.
What's a special project? As opposed to an event chain, like these two. We need a science ship. We can track our map, go to, and look, it's already in there. Now, we want to add this to the queue of things to do. It takes 30 days. Normally, we'd shift right click, and then click research project. What's that going to do? That's going to get him to do that, and then he'll forget all of his other orders. But if we go control shift click and click research projects, he's going to add that to his orders, and he's going to move it to the top of the list. But he's still got his other orders as well. Superb.
Special project complete.
Okay, alright, so what was the result of that special project? The box is indeed a document of a sort. Science Officer Navbard Uvilive admits that they had been hoping for a historical record or some other kind of codex, significant to whatever culture left it behind. But they were disappointed. The true nature of the aromatic box seems to be a collection of fairly short narratives, going by the rapid changes in odor towards the end of each sequence, are intended to surprise or be interpreted as comedic. The techniques used to store and reproduce specific smells is of some interest, but the tales it tells are not. The crew of the VCV Fingalv Outfin are left with the uncomfortable feeling that they have unwittingly become intimately familiar with what certain gaseous byproducts of alien digestion smell like. However, Navbard Uvilive is unwilling to speculate as to why the box was dumped on this frozen hellscape of a planet. So, we got some great society research about aliens that communicate via odors, like the Gek in No Man's Sky. And we get 100 experience for the scientist itself. Fantastic. Interesting. Move on. What's that I hear? It's a colony ship! Ooh.
Technology secured.
Fantastic. Right. And now, it's going to do colonization pods. And that's it. Our colony ship has gently touched down at the top of a large, flat mesa near the equator of Jugum Prime. This location will serve well as a first landing site, and the rivers that flow in the canyons below provide easy access to fresh water. The ship has been permanently converted into the administrative headquarters of the new settlement, and its reactor core in the process of being removed so that it may serve as the colony's temporary power source. Hundreds of small tents and prefab shelters have sprung up around the former starship's massive hull as colonists begin to disembark in large numbers. The first Velveteer city on an alien world. Truly, a great day for the Great Velveteer Commonwealth. Hooray! We've done it! We can't do anything. Why is that? Because they need to disembark, and they need to build their infrastructure, they need to do all that kind of stuff.
Complete.
And then, hooray. And then we can get to the point where we can actually start doing stuff with the planet. And as you can see, we're just slowly expanding our territory as we can, getting some more space resources. We have enough for another colony ship, so why don't we do it? Katara Prime. I mean, all that about which one would you choose. Just go for both. Why not? Unless you're trying to keep it very, very small for your admin capacity that we talked about in the first
situation log updated.
Using our enormous amount of minerals.
Complete.
Alien spacecraft, a badly damaged military vessel bearing elaborate alien insignia, circles Philamir. The ship has suffered a heavy incendiary attack which has melted its hull, leaving no survivors aboard. No weapons known to us today can produce temperatures high enough to cause such an effect. Perhaps the ship's logs may shed some light on its violent end.
Situation log updated.
Now for special projects, go to, there you are, Control Shift,
Anomaly found.
Research. He's going to do this anomaly first because we just found one.
Construction complete.
And this is another arid world, another potential colony. So that's next on the line to be, entered into the Velveteeran fold. Let's build some mining stations. Oh, yay! That's very nice. Alright, so we now have that third district, because we built two. Here we are, only one unemployed worker. And you can see our food has gone up to 21. Ooh, the governor! The governor.
Special project complete.
Oh, good lord. Ah, the rubricator. I'm not going to explain it because otherwise this video would be overlong, as if the others aren't. An analysis of the ship's logs revealed that the crew met its demise when trying to retrieve an irreplaceable alien artifact called the rubricator. It was stolen from their society by a pack of thieving rats. Blah, 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 blah. We must have the rubricator.
Situation log updated.
So we are now going to just fast forward through until we have a colony. Right, factions. We'll talk about that again with the Velveteers in a later module. Don't you worry. Right. What happens when you meet someone or something? You'll get a special project. Investigate. It always takes society research. This one, 26 months. Is it worth it? It's up to you. I'm going to do it, but bear in mind that anything you're currently researching will be put on hold. But only in the category that you're doing it. So obviously we need society research to find out who these guys are. So all the other research is proceeding as normal.
Construction complete.
Oh, final part of this video is about to commence!
Sphere of influence expanded.
And pause. We are going to take a very quick break now. Enjoy your ad. And we will see you on the flip side of I don't know, probably Raid Shadow Legends. And welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your ad. And we have founded the colony of Jugum Prime in the Jugum system. Let's have a look. We can press Q. Here it is. It's ours. It's got 1 billion colonists on it. And they're, of course, colonists. What do colonists do? They produce a little bit of food, some amenities. I mean, sort of like, you know, doing like barn dances and things like that. They also are a well-equipped militia. So we have 1 defense army. No, we don't. 1 soldier job. Okay. Huh. Alright. So, what can we do? We only have 1 pop. So, we can't really do much. We can build a district, but no one's going to work in it. Because the population we have now is the specialist strata, that 1 pop. So if we were to build mining districts, for example, that's a worker job. And they tend not to move down. So we need to get more pops. How can we do that? We can click resettle if we have the policy. So resettlement allowed or prohibited. So it's allowed. We could prohibit it if we want. I don't know why you'd do that. But we're going to click. We're going to keep it as allowed. So this means that if we wanted to, I mean, we don't have a huge abundance of pops anyway. But if we wanted to, let's just for the sake of doing that, if we just take some, what do we need? We don't need miners, so we'll do that. And we've got 3 unemployed workers now. And we don't have enough housing. Not good. But we can build a city district that's going to give 1 job and some housing. And we can start doing the mining districts. Also, have a look here. We've got now a building slot because we've got 5 pops. Overcrowding takes 10% off of our stability, so it's now in negative. And that affects resource and trade value. But as soon as that city district is complete, we'll have +5 housing, leaving for a overflow of 3. So that's going to be good. So, what can we start building now? We have a building slot. We've got a temple. Please turn consumer goods to Unity, society research, and amenities. Amenities are looking pretty low, but clerks produce +1 amenities. Only 1 clerk job become available. So that would go up to 3, but as the population grows, we'll need more. What I'd probably do is, you know what? Nothing. Because At the moment, there's all of the buildings that we could build are just going to make people want to work in the building and not in the mines. And I get that. But right now, let's get them working in the mines. We've built some food facilities on Mock, so that's all covered. 4 available jobs. 0 available jobs. But let's make some jobs. 400 days to build a new city. That's going to give us the housing. Everyone will get happier. And so we will be fine. And if we look at our leader has some traits. Architectural sense. Building, district, and buildings and districts cost 10% less in terms of their mineral cost than they would otherwise. And also, we build things 10% faster, which is fantastic. So, let's move on. Let's see how it does. Oh dear.
Technology secured.
Oh yeah. Right, okay. Let's do this. Research is good. So now we're literally... I'll tell you what, actually, we're going to cheat. We're going to cheat a little bit. We're going to use the console, type help, because I'm not super do with it. It's like auto build or instant builds. Let's get up to I. Instant build. Here we are. Great. So that means as soon as we unlock this...
Construction complete.
Great. So we now have 2 available jobs and 2 unemployed workers. Why do we have 2 unemployed workers? I have no idea. Because we have 2 available jobs. Let's see if they move at 1, 0. There we go. So now we are producing 9 minerals. And we've got our city district giving us... Oh, hooray! Oh, remember those guys? Fantastic. They were the ones that we spent all that research on to, all that society research to identify. We'll talk about the curators and other enclaves in another module.
Colonization in progress.
So we've got Guitar Prime being colonized, Philomere Prime being colonized, that's the one up here, and Jugon Prime. We can now build a building. What kind of building might we want in the early stage? We could have buildings like the energy grid, plus 15% for all technicians. Resource silos, if we're running out of space to store all of our massive wealth. Precinct houses to keep crime down. Luxury residences for amenities and housing. Holo theatres for amenities. And of course, all of these are upgradable as well. Later on. We can't do any research labs. Why? Because... we need to upgrade the reassembled ship shelter into a proper capital city, and that will require 10 or more pops. At the moment, we're lacking amenities in Mock itself. You know what that calls for? Ba-bam!
Construction complete.
Auto build is awesome. That means that for future tutorials involving the Velveteers, we're going to have to revert back to the state of the game as it was at the beginning of this video. And that's when we're going to start talking about traditions and things like that. Or we might just unlock them all and go through them. It's all good. It's all good. Ooh, society research. Let's get some, start clearing tile blockers. Again, do we have any, we don't have any. Can we recruit anyone? No, that doesn't have the right special skills for that. We're going to pause there. What have we learned today? We've learned about making contact, using society research. We've got a very cool event chain that you might yourself encounter. And we've talked about surveying, we've talked about how to queue orders up, we've talked about the first days of your colony, how to prioritize, what special planetary modifiers are, district capacities, balancing an economy. And there is one thing left to learn here. The minute that I build a building and make people specialists, they move upwards. So let's talk about specialist. Specialisms in a planetary labor force. So, for example, we've got 4 free technician jobs. And that is because they were the jobs that we nicked. They were the pops that we nicked to resettle to Jugum Prime. If we, said, okay, right now we don't need any metallurgists. We'd decrease that. We'd decrease it even more. And then they're just unemployed. Why don't they go back into the worker jobs? They're just unemployed specialists. Because they don't want to be workers. It's going to take a long time of them being unemployed in order to accept just working in some generation plant because they were metallurgists. So, let's just get that back. Let's just restore that. But, when you're working with the workers themselves, we could say 3 out of 4... Oh, everyone's moved to technicians anyway. That's all fine. We've got farmers there. Let's say if we took a farmer away, we'd move them away, and then we've got more clerks, more miners, all the miners, and we've redistributed, and we still don't have any unemployment. We can move them around, or we can restore it and get more food. What's most important? You can favourite a job to make sure that will always be filled first. So, like researchers. And you can do that for each strata. You can obviously... there's only one job there, but... you can do that for each strata. So, the key thing is to remember here, if I was to build a building that provides entertainer jobs, so +2 jobs, people are going to move up. People like to get up and ahead in life. So any workers will move up immediately to fill vacant specialist jobs. But the same is not true the other way round. So, for example, if I built a load of buildings with, a total of 13 jobs... No, 11 jobs. All of these pops... all the miners, all the technicians, all the farmers would do other things. Let's say, for example, I built... let's just replace that with alloy foundries. Let's just do that with some more alloy foundries. And let's just see what happens.
Construction complete.
We only have 2 farmers now.
That's
now we're losing food. Miners is down. We've still got a lot of space resources, obviously, but you tend not to find floating apples in space in large numbers. So we've lost the jobs.
Anomaly found.
Great. We're producing more alloys. Great. But we're no longer able to feed our people. We have a stockpile. It's running out, albeit slowly. So that's something to consider. Build new buildings. Great. At your peril if you can't afford the labor loss of the working class. Great. Anything else we'd need to cover here? No, we covered the planet screen last time. So this was... Oh, strategic resources. We'll cover that. I think we already have. But let's call it a day there. The next module is going to be wonderful. It's going to be all about the fleets. It's all going to be about the fleets. We'll unlock all the technologies beforehand so we can show you everything that they can do. And just as a little bonus, let's see who else is sharing the galaxy with us. What have we got going on? So, there are the Velveteers. We're not aware of anyone else. We've got the Tilnessy Mercantile Union. All kinds of potential friends and potential enemies, and maybe one that I designed myself. All that and more coming up as we move forward with the definitive Stellaris tutorial. If you've liked the show, please do leave a comment, hit that like button, you know how the algorithms are these days. And if you aren't already, do hit the subscribe button for more great content. If you'd like to go one step further, if you'd like to be an incredible individual, then consider joining the list of names that are fluttering across the bottom of your screen right now. I hope you haven't noticed that I've had a cold the entire time I've been narrating this video, but it's worth it for you. To learn more about being a patron of the Nova Kane Empire, then please go to www.patreon.com/Nova Kane. And with that, I bid you all atop the galaxy for the taking. A good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, and, of course, a very good night.